Games are a lot like women in my life. They arrive, fulfilling all of my fantasies, and then all of a sudden leave without giving me an explanation. I've played a ton of great games in my time. I've also seen franchises drop in quality with repeated releases, or just absolutely flop altogether. It's 2023. We have the new generation of consoles, insane graphic cards and CPUs, with improved game engines. It's time to wake up. These are the top 8 games that deserve sequels. At number 8, we have Splinter Cell. Yes, I know, they've announced a Splinter Cell remake. But fans of the series want more. We want a new story, preferably with Sam Fisher. We want to see unique missions and stealth features taken to the next level. Ubisoft has teased us throughout the years, putting Fisher in mobile games, adding him in Rainbow Six Siege as a playable operator, and even aiding him in a mission on Wildlands. It's been 10 years since the last Splinter Cell game, which surprisingly still holds up today. Oh, and who could forget about the fun co-op missions that had us screaming at each other because we didn't want to admit we missed a shot that alarmed the whole map. It's time to stop teasing and give us the next evolution of Splinter Cell. But until then, I guess the remake will just have to hold us over. Coming in at number 7 is Def Jam, the fighting series. Man, does this take me back. Back in the time when rappers would put the guns down and put their fists up. Def Jam took rap beef to a whole new level, pitting some of the most iconic Def Jam artists in a ring, or street, or gas station. Each character was voice acted with their own fighting style, and who could forget about the Blazins? The story modes weren't anything to brag about, but still offered a fun experience as it allowed you to create your own fighter and even had cutscenes. The series would take a dip in the launch of Def Jam Icon with only 29 playable characters, a step back in gameplay, and bad controls. The only thing worth bragging about was the soundtrack and stages. Fans of the series would tell you Fight for New York was the best installment, which offered 67 playable characters, a good mixture of fighting and wrestling with great stages, and Snoop Dogg as the main antagonist. Imagine a new fighting game with some of our favorite rappers with today's technology. The only downside would be trying to stream or upload videos due to DMCA, as well as acquiring rights to different music labels to include their artists in the game. Regardless, fans deserve to see Drake and Meek Mill beating the shit out of each other. Landing the 6th spot on this list is Rainbow Six Vegas. I have to admit, looking back, this game was ahead of its time. If we're strictly talking about gameplay, the first-person tactical shooter allowed players to take control of a small team and give them orders such as moving to a specific location to take cover, breach and clear doors, or utilize smoke, flash, and frag grenades. It was also one of the first hybrid POV games that mainly was a first-person shooter, but allow you to take cover and switch to third person. The Vegas series provided a fun story mode that could be played with 3 other friends, provided weapon and character customization, along with an underrated multiplayer. The first installment laid a great foundation, but it was Rainbow Six Vegas 2 that would improve upon every aspect, making it one of the best titles to launch on the Xbox 360 and PS3. Vegas 2 would be the last of this series, as Ubisoft's Rainbow Six Patriots, planned to release in 2013, will get cancelled and then later go on to become Rainbow Six Siege. There is currently no news on when fans will receive another installment of Rainbow Six games, and with the recent news about Ubisoft, it seems to be far, far away. Coming in at number 5, we have Fight Night. Boxing games were at its peak in the 2000s. The Fight Night series actually made me feel as though I was in the ring with Roy Jones Jr. The jabs and uppercuts were impactful, you always had to stay moving in the ring, and the healing mini games between rounds kept players engaged during downtime. I loved creating a boxer and going through the legacy mode, working my way through the ranks until I could take home the title. Fight Night Champions would be the last boxing games fans would see, as EA stated the series didn't sell well. It's crazy because I still have friends that play this game till this day. EA will go on to obtain the UFC license, as the sport increased in popularity year after year, giving the publisher even more motive to drop boxing and never return. Fans still wanting a boxing experience are in luck. Developers PAYNE are releasing their new boxing game titled Undisputed on Steam January 31st, 2023. The game will later launch on current gen consoles as well. This will have to do, as EA has no plans on returning to boxing games. At number 4, we have Max Payne. Rockstar's ability to make some of the greatest games ever for 2 decades shows just how elite these developers are. What separates Max Payne from other games is its ability to keep me hooked mission after mission, as Max narrates his own story, going through his thoughts and emotions as situations happen. The game offers the traditional Rockstar experience with polished gameplay, great voice acting.
Here I was about to execute this poor bastard like some dime store angel of death, and I realized they were correct. I wouldn't know right from wrong if one of them was helping the poor and the other was banging my sister.
Well thought out narrative, and a good variety of level designs to keep the player interested. Bringing this all together made Max Payne 3 a masterpiece for me. With that being said, I honestly don't think we will ever see another installment in this series, as Rockstar's ideology has shifted to games as a service. I present to you Exhibit A. With GTA 6 being the next installment for Rockstar, it's safe to say we probably won't get a Max Payne 4 for a very, very long time. Coming in at number 3 is the Battlefield Bad Company series. The last Bad Company game we got was back in 2010, which took the Battlefield series to new heights. Starting with the multiplayer, it offered a balanced class system with tons of tactical destruction and intense firefights. Bad Company 2, in my opinion, had the best sound design, which made the game feel so immersive. The single player also shined, with relatable characters that kept you laughing throughout the story, and the level design offered players leniency on how to approach missions. It didn't take itself too seriously, but still managed to keep me engaged throughout its 7-hour story. With the recent debacle of 2042, it's time for DICE to reel back in what made Battlefield special. Returning to Bad Company for a third installment and revisiting the first 2 games for inspiration would revive the series and somewhat restore the relationship and trust it had with fans. With today's technology, DICE could do amazing things, and with Vince Zampella currently at the helm, Bad Company 3 would be a very special title. Landing that spot at number 2 is Portal. Valve. When are you going to make another game? The Portal series made me realize how fun puzzle games truly can be. Portal never wowed me with its graphics and had little voice acting, but where it left me amazed was its crazy level design. I can't tell you how many times I sat for hours trying to figure out a level because I was too stubborn to look it up on YouTube. Part of the fun was figuring it out yourself and getting the satisfaction from outsmarting the game. Co-op was a great addition as well, allowing for 2 players to try and figure out each crazy puzzle. A third installment in the series would be phenomenal, adding more puzzles and maybe a 3 to 4 player co-op feature. Please Valve, go back to making games. Before getting to the number 1 spot, there are a few honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but I thought were noteworthy to include. The first one being the SOCOM series. We desperately need a third-person military shooter that allows players to approach missions tactically. A return to SOCOM with updated graphics, an upgraded engine with better animations would truly blow us all away. Another honorable mention is the Ghost Recon series. Ubisoft, you have so many gems. What are you doing? Some of my most fondest memories came from the Ghost Recon games. From Future Soldier's fun co-op campaign to Advanced Warfighter's immersion in graphics for its time. I always enjoyed Ghost Recon. That was until this. The last honorable mention goes to a series a lot of you may not remember. These 2 games being Sony exclusives, Warhawk and Starhawk. The first game offered an experience like no other at the time. Imagine Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefield had a baby. Warhawk, the first game, really had me hooked, but it would seem the second installment, Starhawk, would flop as unnecessary changes were made, causing fans of the series to abandon the title. Even with that being said, I would still love to see Sony or some other company revive the series and improve upon what their original formula had. And taking the number 1 spot, yep, you guessed it, Saints Row. Just joking, leave that series in the trash. The number 1 spot belongs to Titanfall. EA, why? This is your 4th game on the list and you keep taking away our gems. Why? Okay, on a serious note, this series was truly special. When the first game launched on the Xbox One, you could see the direction Respawn Entertainment was headed in. But it was Titanfall 2, in my opinion, that would capture the essence of what makes a game great. The story, 10 out of 10. The multiplayer, 10 out of 10. The gameplay, 10 out of 10. The game was a true gem, but EA will go on to ruin any chance of it taking flight as it released in a hyper-competitive time of the year, being right between Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1. This mistake would lead to poor sales, even though the game would receive great reviews and high praise from the industry. Respawn being tasked with making a Battle Royale the following years, Apex Legends' success will put the nail in the coffin for any hopes of a Titanfall 3, at least in the foreseeable future. Which series would you like to see receive a sequel, or which ones did I maybe miss? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.